Fun week 4 in college football. Let's start in South Bend. Ohio State wins 17-14. It does not get any better than what we saw at the end of this game. 2 top 10 teams, awesome atmosphere, massive brands in the sport. Comes down to one play on the 1-yard line. I mean, straight out of a movie. Ted, incredible.
And he barely gets in.
Barely gets in. Buckeyes score a touchdown with 1 second to get the massive road win. But, Ted, how is it possible? The most important play of the game, the most important play of your season, 3rd and 1 at the 1-yard line. You're at home. How on God's green earth do you only have 10 men on the field? How does that happen? That I just thought they were misaligned, and then I counted them. I couldn't believe it, man. Game's on the line. You got 10 on the field? What?
And did they have a timeout to burn? I don't know if they had a timeout to burn.
No, they just taken it.
I don't know. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how the conversation over there went on the sideline. That's a coach killer, man. That's the head guy being really, really, really upset with a bunch of people, right? It falls on whoever was supposed to be out there, and then it falls on his coach for why did he not know he was supposed to be out there. Then it kind of falls on the rest of the guys in that position group that are standing there in the rotation, not saying, hey, aren't you supposed to be out there right now? So I don't know how that happened. I don't know. One of the things is during timeouts, there's a lot of, they could have thought that Ohio State was going with a different personnel grouping and spent the entire timeout talking about a different personnel grouping. And then they jog on with something different. And in the scramble to get the right personnel, you just miss it. But at the end of the day, I don't know how it happened. You can't necessarily say it cost you the game, but you kind of can. It's an easy thing to point at and say that was it, Can you,
is the silver lining, hey, we almost stopped him with 10.
Yeah.
I can't believe that happened. But, looking at this game, I thought Sam Hartman was all right. I thought he wasn't the difference maker, even though I picked Ohio State to win the game. He wasn't the difference maker for them that I thought he would be in this game. Just kind of managed it, right? He kind of did what a lot of other Notre Dame quarterbacks have done in big games, right? Nothing. Yeah. He wasn't bad, but it wasn't, I don't know, it lacked a little sizzle. The performance lacked a little sizzle for me. Is that fair?
No, I think it's totally fair. I kind of felt the same way. It is interesting. Number one, give credit to Ohio State for revamping that defense because they're getting good. They're bouncing back on that side of the ball. And I thought that even though it ended up being a close game and there's some crazy stuff that happened down the stretch, I thought Ohio State was decidedly the more talented football team. And with that being said, like, how is it different if Hartman, they've got a quarterback and they've got a guy that can do some stuff, but against a team like Ohio State, I still think that they're second tier skill position wise. If that makes any sense. Like they don't have a 6'4" Marvin Harrison Jr. that you can just continue to go to over and over, right?
Yeah.
That helps the quarterback out a lot.
Yeah. Also, I guess Marvin Harrison Jr. just has like the strongest ankles on planet Earth.
Yeah. Rubber.
What was that? It looked like he may have broken his leg. And then all of a sudden you looked up, he was back out there.
Yeah.
We are
I don't
not
know.
created equally.
I thought the same thing. I was like, oh well, that sucks because that dude is unbelievable. I wonder what he's gonna do. Like, is he still gonna go in the draft? Yada yada yada. And then wait a second, is he back out on the field?
I
What's
had the same
happening?
conversation with my wife. I was like, well, honey, he's gonna be like a top 5 pick. So in the long run, this could actually be what's best for his future. It's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then a couple minutes later, he's back out there. And she's like, hey, isn't that him? I was like, oh my God.
Back, not just back out there looking fine.
Yes.
He's gonna be hurting today, but that was impressive, gutsy
Yeah.
performance.
Now, Ryan Day, I was an angry man after the game. Felt disrespected. Watch out, Lou Holtz. I really was hoping he'd do a Holtz impression when he was going after Holtz. And hey, Day's a little lucky they got that stop, or that Notre Dame didn't get that stop, because the story of that game would have been that 4th and 1 jet sweep call.
Oh my God.
What a terrible play call.
I jumped out of my seat when I saw that. I had these horrible Rose Bowl flashbacks. Unbelievable. But I I missed the Lou Holtz thing. And it's funny because I did my radio show from my hotel room in Cincinnati and it was on TV. I could see the interview, but I didn't know anything that he said because I was doing my show. And I guess it was enough to make Ryan Day really angry.
Yeah. Basically, in a nutshell, Lou Holtz called Ohio State soft. Like, said Notre Dame was the better and tougher team. Like that's it in a nutshell. And Ryan Day was pissed.
Well,
but Notre Dame, they missed some opportunities early in this game to put points on the board, right? Had the turnover on downs, missed a field goal. Like, when you're playing in a big game like this against a team that good, that stuff matters, man. And I thought that the all green for Notre Dame was an extremely bold choice in a game of that magnitude. I turned it on, and I had read earlier in the week that that's what they were going to wear, but turning it on and seeing it is a completely different animal. You got to go with the traditionals in that game, right?
This is what I don't understand. Like, some of this stuff is it's almost criminal because it's the easiest thing ever. I just don't stop overthinking it. It's going to be one of the biggest games of the entire year. You don't want people in the bar or at home turning the game on and saying, I didn't know Ohio State's playing Oregon this week. Right? It looked like Oregon. It did not look like Notre Dame. Where the reason you pay all of this money and you spend, I don't know, around 100 years building a brand to where whenever it comes on, no matter who they are, no matter if they watch football or not, they say, that's Notre Dame. I know that's Notre Dame. I don't watch that much football, but that is Notre Dame. That's why you do that. The amount of money these brands are worth is massive. Don't screw that up. It's so stupid. Am I wrong on that? Like, isn't it that easy?
I didn't understand the choice. Maybe if you wear the traditionals, you get 11 guys on the field in that last play. No, it was just something where I turned it on. I was like, wow, that green is popping.
Yeah.
But it is a really good football game, right? Kind of a boring first half, but that
Which
ending
is what Notre Dame wanted, right?
Yeah.
Slow this thing down, make it boring.
Yeah, make it a little ugly. And it was the style of game that Notre Dame needed to play to beat Ohio State. They weren't able to get it done on that last drive. Now, I do think Notre Dame, I don't think they're going to drop much. And I still think they are more than capable of making the playoff. Now, they got Duke coming up next, and all of a sudden that game is not a gimme. But they got USC. They got USC at home on October 14th, and they got to go to Clemson on November 14th. I mean, there is a very real scenario where they are a one-loss team, and with their only loss being on the last play of the game to Ohio State.
Yeah.
So they are still very much a factor when you think about the college football playoff picture.
And I watched every snap of that USC game last night, and as we sit right now, Notre Dame is levels ahead of USC, in my opinion.
A lot to do with the defense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Florida State at Clemson. Clemson wins 31-24 in overtime on the road. Hard-fought football game.
Florida State. You mistakenly said Clemson wins on the road. We know what you meant. I just wanted to clarify.
Oh, no. I'm losing it.
No,
Florida State wins 31-24 at Clemson. Very hard-fought football game. Both quarterbacks took a beating in this game. Guys getting hit a lot. I thought Jordan Travis and Cade Klubnik, I'm falling apart. Here we go. I thought they displayed some toughness, did some good things, but it felt like there were multiple points in this game where Clemson had opportunities to put the Noles away and just couldn't do it. And no better example than feels like they had all the momentum. They're driving down the field, and then Cade Klubnik gets destroyed by Deloach. Ball out, scoop and score, tie football game at 24. That was a massive play, but then you make a 29-yard field goal, and you probably win the game with the way that your defense was played. That
minute and a half left.
Yeah, little like two-ish, just under two, I think. You miss a 29-yard field goal. Just a brutal miss. Guy left the team, came back, the whole story. I don't care. I don't care about the story. Make a 29-yarder, man. But I thought Clemson's defense played pretty well. Thought they did a nice job against all those weapons for Florida State's offense. But it's a disappointing loss for Clemson, and Florida State's got to feel fortunate walking out of there with a win.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting that, and I know the Clemson fans and players and everyone, like, they feel differently, and that's fine. But I came out of this feeling better about Clemson than I did going in, if that makes sense. I thought their offense, moving the ball well, showing some real signs of life, and, defensively to have control of that game, hold a really good Florida State offense to 24 in regulation. What they hit on a couple of big plays to Johnny Wilson, which is going to happen. Give them credit for that. But all in all, just kicked a field goal and you just beat a top, what was Florida State, 6, 5, 6?
They're 4.
I mean, you make a field goal, you just beat a top 4 team in the country whenever everyone is questioning whether or not your program is about to, be done for. So, like, whenever you look at it that way, it's like, I think Clemson's got a little more fight in them than people maybe thought going in or think at the moment, and still lost the game, though. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Clemson fans and players don't care about that, but that's just kind of my view of Clemson coming out of it.
Yeah, in the overtime, right? Keon Coleman just makes a hell of a catch. Competitive play, hell of a catch by a really good player. And then Clemson gets the ball. People are drunk on throwing the RPO stuff, Ted.
I know it.
Third down. What was it, 3rd and 2? Just hand it, man. Instead, he fires the RPO, right? He's playing the numbers game out there on the outside. Ball gets tipped. 4th down, they throw it. Ball gets tipped again. I guess ball on the 3rd down just did not work out there on the outside. And then 4th down, ball gets tipped. Just a tough way for the game to end. But I will say this. Will Shipley's a stud. That's my number one takeaway from Clemson. That guy can play.
Yep.
Out of the backfield, catching the football as a runner, like, guy's a stud.
Yeah. Well, it's become apparent that this isn't this year thing, but the RPO has ruined college football. Not ruined it. It's still a great product and it's still fun, but the RPOs suck. I think they're stupid. I think they take fight and toughness out of the line of scrimmage. I think they take brain power away from everyone on the field playing the game, and it's done up in the boxes instead of down on the field. I think it sucks. It's stupid.
You should be limited to 5 passes at or behind the line of scrimmage game.
Right.
A new rule.
One to drive. You can only do one to drive.
Anything else about that game? Just a nice win for Florida State. And all of a sudden you look at their schedule the rest of the way, and kind of at this point, it'd be surprising if they don't make the playoff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. One more just kind of overall college football complaint from watching last night.
Perfect.
I want everyone, as a study, this is homework for everybody. Watch the amount of balls that are thrown that 10 years ago or before targeting would never be thrown. And they're caught. It's an insane amount of footballs of where guys would, quarterbacks just wouldn't throw it because they'd get their wide receiver absolutely killed. It's over and over and over. It's interesting. And I think it has a big overall effect on like all those completion percentages that we see across the country. Big factor. Okay.
That it? You good? We're good? Yes. Okay. I like it. All right. Colorado went to Oregon, and what's the best way to put this? Ted, you want to see a dead body? I mean, just an absolute beatdown. Maybe this thing was over the second that Dan Lanning gave that pregame speech. He had that thing rehearsed. There's no doubt. He'd spent some time on that one.
Was there someone in the back of the room holding up cards?
Yeah, cue cards. Like, hey, don't forget to say the thing about clicks. Remember the thing about clicks. But honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't worse. Just a good statement by Oregon. Colorado had come into this game worn down, and it's really not complicated when you go back and watch the game. Oregon whooped Colorado's ass at the line of scrimmage. That's football. You win the battle on the offensive line and defensive line, you are typically going to smack your opponent around. That's what happened. I mean, Oregon's offensive line was just rolling Colorado's D-line off the ball. Oregon's running backs were dragging Colorado defenders. It was a physical beating, like 240 on the ground for Oregon. It went how I thought it was going to go. Just a physical mismatch at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know like there's this big divide out there about this game and Dan Lanning and his approach and Colorado. And I think like whenever you look at that score, they totally took their foot off the gas in this game. Oregon did. And they could have made things a lot worse. But we all knew that this is happening. The ride has been fun. It's been entertaining, but we all knew that this was happening. And I still don't think you look down on what Colorado's done at all. Like the most difficult thing to do is get the line of scrimmage guys, right? And like it's going to take some time for them to catch up with places the likes of Oregon and even Washington, some of those schools. And obviously they don't need to anymore. They'll be coming to the Big 12, but that's the hardest thing to get. And I still think that Deion's going to pick up some really good players in the portal and in recruiting moving forward.
I'm with you. It really didn't change how I feel about Colorado moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think Deion's going to get those line of scrimmage players, whether it's recruiting and the portal, probably a combination of both, probably mainly portal with the approach we've seen him have. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to want to be a part of what they're doing there, right? It looks fun. College kids like to have fun, and it looks fun.
And I thought Deion's quote after the game is right. What'd he say? Like, congratulations to them. Be glad they got us now because this is the worst we're going to be. I agree. I think they're going to get better and better.
Yeah, and you look at that game, Bo Nix, he had the interception, but other than that, very solid. Troy Franklin, that guy can run, man, had a big day. The one thing I'll say about Colorado's performance, Shadur Sanders, was the protection great? No. But, dude, you got to get rid of the football. You have to understand the situation. Oregon had like 7 sacks. You got to make some quicker decisions with the football. Or maybe Sean Lewis has to call some shorter route concepts. Also, you can't drop 10 yards deep and float to 11 yards and expect to be protected. That sack is on you.
Yeah.
You got to step up. You got to give your tackles a chance. And I thought that, clearly it's his worst game, right? I'm not breaking any news there, but I thought he had been so good at, looking polished at the quarterback spot. It was clear the heat got to him in this game, right? Yeah. And he was feeling that pressure. He was backing up when he didn't need to back up. And I get it. He was getting hit a lot, but one of the things that had stood out so far was kind of the toughness that he had been playing the position with. And I thought Oregon and how physical they were and how dominant they were at that line, at the line of scrimmage, it got to him and it affected the way that he played.
Yeah.
He'll learn from it.
I agree. It's tough, man. Like, whenever you're under that much duress as a quarterback, it's hard to, that's the key. Most guys, doesn't matter how good you are, if you can get pressure on them, they become average or below really quickly.
Yeah. Anything else on that game? Oh, there was a fake punt where they direct snapped it to a defensive tackle for a first down. Oregon did that. That was awesome.
Nice. Giving the big guys a little bit of love.
He looked good out in space. Looked like he knew what he was doing. I liked it. Maybe the best player of the game.
Oregon's the good football team. Good football team.
No doubt. No doubt. It'll be interesting to see. They got some big matchups coming up in the Pac-12, man.
That conference is going to be fun back half of the year.